Hey guys, my name is Emilie and today I'm going to walk you through my engagement session shot list. So this shot list also works for a wedding day portrait shoot or any shoot where you're photographing a couple. However, I don't follow this checklist very precisely. I do have certain photos that I always start with to kind of get the shoot going, but I don't check them off one by one and be done with it. I do like to keep some space for creativity, some space for spontaneous photos, and I go with the vibe of the couple. If they're more playful, then I can incorporate more of those shots. If I see that they're a little bit more quiet and want more romantic photos, then I'll go in that direction. But the shot list just makes sure that I always capture a variety of photos, and I make sure that I am happy with the amount of photos that I deliver to each client. So I do kind of check these off in my mind, and this just helps me stay on track, and I always have something to go to in case I draw a blank. And it's also great when you're starting out because then it can be extremely stressful to go on a shoot, and on top of everything you already have to kind of think about, like your settings, the light, the location, you also have to think of poses. Well, this shot list will help you stay on track and always have something to go to in case you draw a blank or in case you don't know what to tell your couple to do next. So let's hop right in, and I'm going to show you my go-to poses. Okay, welcome back. Now, before I go ahead and go through my shot list, make sure to subscribe to my channel. That way you can be notified whenever I post new videos, and I am posting new videos this month for photographers just like you. So I would hate for you to miss out on those. So make sure to subscribe and click that little bell if you want to be notified as soon as I post a new one. Okay, now, the first shot that I always start with when I start a photo shoot is just the classic portrait. So the classic portrait is just that one where you're standing, smiling, and looking at the camera. This might not be our favorite photo to take as a photographer because it's kind of boring and not really creative and artistic, but I do think that every couple still needs a nice classic portrait of them. And one little tip is I always call it the grandma portrait because I feel like grandmas are always the ones who purchase those prints from my gallery, and it's kind of like an old style photo. Anyways, I only call it that way because when I say that, my couples start laughing, and then I get some nice natural smiles, and it gets the shoot going on a great foot. Okay, the second photo I move into after doing the classic portrait is just an easy walking shot. So the walking shot is where I have my couple just hold hands, standing one beside each other and walking towards me. I'll usually back up slowly a little bit when I'm taking these photos so they're not just progressively getting closer and closer to me. But this is an easy transition because you have to remember, your couple is probably very nervous. This is probably their very first professional photo shoot. So I like to start with poses and photos that are easy and that don't take too much direction and that aren't too intimidating. So the classic portrait is easy. They've probably taken photos like that a million times before. And then the walking shot, I just have them looking at each other and talking to each other, laughing. And that way they can almost forget that I'm taking their photo. So that's a great shot to kind of move into after doing the classic portrait. And obviously when I say I start with these photos, I might do them again later on in the shoot. But that doesn't mean that they'll look the same because we might have changed the location or the light might have changed. So that's just what I like to start with, and that doesn't mean I can't sprinkle these photos in again throughout the shoot with different backgrounds. Okay, now these next photos don't really have any particular order. These are just some of my go-tos. So the next one would be the kissing photo. Now that's a classic for engagement photos and wedding day photos. You kind of need it, but I do give a little bit of instruction because it's not as simple as just asking your couple to kiss, take the photo, and that's it. Because a lot of people will end up looking kind of awkward when they're doing that, and no one wants to look awkward in photos. So here are just a few tips and tricks. So what I do is I get my couple, the keyword here is a light kiss. I ask them to just lightly kiss, and after they do, I make sure to tell them to just hang out there for a few more seconds afterwards, just with their noses touching or their foreheads resting together, because they have just, you have this look in your eye after you kiss your partner or your husband or your wife that I just can't recreate any other way. So if they just kiss and then look at me and say, "What's next?" that kind of kills the mood a little bit. So I have them kiss and then just hang out with each other, and that moment after is usually even better than the actual kissing photo. So that's what I want to capture when I'm getting the kissing shot. Other photos can be kiss on the cheek, kiss on the temple, kiss on the neck. All those are great, and you have a whole bunch of options for kissing photos. You can have him kissing her kissing him. You can have one partner, kiss on the forehead, vice versa. You can play around with that. So that's another one that I always make sure to capture in a few different spots, a few different locations, and I mix it up with different lenses, different angles, and different backgrounds. Now, the engagement ring photo. This is especially important if you're doing an engagement session. If you're just doing a couple session and your couple is not engaged or married, just ignore this one. But if they're newly engaged, it's kind of a fun time. They probably want the ring photographed. Even though we are going to get photos of the rings on the wedding day, it's kind of just fun to have a photo of your brand new ring. So I make sure to get two kinds of ring photos. The first one is still on the finger itself. So I'm going to show you a few examples of what that looks like. And I'm also going to take photos of the ring placed on something. So for the wedding day ring photo, the classic one is to just have it on the bouquet, but I try to get a little bit creative, especially on the engagement session, because we have more time, more creativity than maybe on a wedding day. So I can place it hanging on a branch, I can place it on some rocks, or whatever is in the area. I'll just place the ring and take a few macro shots and maybe a few wider shots of it. Okay, now these next photos, I feel like they are often forgotten. These are the single shots. So I always make sure to get a single photo of each partner, because most of the photos will be both of them together because that's what we're taking pictures of. But I do want to make sure to get photos of each of them individually, because it's just nice to have a photo by yourself, and that way if one partner wants a photo on their desk of their spouse or of their partner, then they can have that, or it's just nice and it adds variety to the collection. So these photos can be a little bit even more intimidating, because then you're like on the spotlight, you're the only one having your picture taken. So I do make sure to capture these a little bit later during the session. So my sessions are usually 2 hours long. So I'll do this photo maybe an hour and a half in, because then they've kind of really had time to get comfortable in front of the camera. They know me by that time. I know them, so I can really kind of talk to them in a way that I know that makes them laugh, or it's just a lot more comfortable once we know each other and they've gotten in the vibe of having their picture taken. Another little tip is I have the partner stand a little bit behind me, maybe, or over my shoulder, and then so I'll take pictures of them looking directly at the camera, and then I'll take pictures of them looking off to the side, looking at their partner who's making them laugh. So that'll be really easy to get some really nice smiling and laughing photos. Okay, these next photos are oftentimes some of my favorite out of the entire shoot. This is where I get them to whisper something into each other's ears. So you can have them start off by just facing each other, you can have them wrap arms around the shoulders, or you can have them come into a hug. It really doesn't matter as long as they look comfortable and they look cute. Now I started off by asking them to whisper something into the partner's ear that will make them laugh. So they know each other really well. They probably have some inside jokes or whatever it takes to make them laugh. That's what I tell them. Now I also make sure to tell them that I cannot hear what you're saying. So that way they don't get shy and think that I'm kind of listening to what they're saying, and then that way they don't hold back either. So this oftentimes gets some really great laughter, really great smiles. If your couple is a little bit more timid and this doesn't work as well, you can give them some cues. So my favorite one to use is, it sounds really silly, but as long as it makes them laugh, I don't care. I say, whisper your favorite fruit or what you had for breakfast in your partner's ear in your sexiest voice. So this oftentimes gets them laughing even before I take the picture, or even before they start whispering it in the ear. So that's great. And then you can move into some more intimate, more romantic photos with this technique as well. So you can ask them to whisper your 3 favorite things about each other in the ear, or just facing each other. This will oftentimes get maybe a few tears, or just a really nice romantic look in their eyes as they're kind of looking at each other. lovingly. Now, these last photos in my shot list are a great big part of my style. So I don't like photos that look super posy, even though I'm walking you through poses and shot lists here. They're more like actions to take to get them to move into a pose or a photo. So these action shots are things like having them give each other a piggyback, or having them run towards the camera, or having them dance in a field or twirl around while dancing. So these are all actions that have natural movement, natural smiles, and the pose doesn't get stale or get awkward because they're constantly moving. And then who knows what you're going to capture, because every couple will move into all these things differently. So the piggybacks are definitely some of my favorite. Oftentimes that takes a little bit of convincing because couples are like, how am I going to look good while giving my partner a piggyback? But I'll just tell them, trust me, most couples love it. If it doesn't look great for you, I promise I won't share it and you will never know that it was taken, but I promise it'll probably be one of your favorite photo, and then they're okay with it because it takes that pressure off that, what if I don't look good? Is she still going to post it? No, I promise them that I'll never post anything that is not flattering to them. So I'm going to share a few of these action photos, but really anything that can get them moving and then get them laughing, smiling is what I am looking for in these photos. Okay, so that was the shot list that I kind of run through my head during every session, so that way I'm sure that I can offer a variety of photos to my couples. And as you can see, there are so many variations to each of these photos that you can do them over and over during the shoot with different backgrounds and different lenses, and they're always going to look different. So posing is not so scary anymore, I find, if you think of it as more of giving your couple an action to do over telling them, place your hand here, place your head here, place your feet here, and then stand there while I take the photo. And this is just my personal style, but I feel like photos like that sometimes can get stale and the shot looks to pose, which is what I don't like. So I get them to move into an action. Even if I just have them hugging and looking at each other, I'll start them off. I have my camera ready. I'll start them off just standing there and I say, okay, now move into a hug. Now move into the kiss. And I'll take photos throughout that whole action. That way I can get like every single photo in that action, and sometimes those in-between moments end up being the best photos. So really all it takes is a lot of practice. Find friends that are couples, find anyone, go out, shoot, and don't be shy. Don't be shy of looking silly if you need to fake laugh out loud to make them laugh. I've done that many times, and honestly, as long as I get them great photos that I am proud to give and that they're happy to receive, that is all that matters. So my friends, don't forget to subscribe so you can see my next videos, because I have some more great videos coming out for for you guys photographers. So make sure to subscribe, and you can join my Facebook group too, which is filled with other photographers, so you can even share your photos in there, ask for advice on your posing, and we're all there and happy to help you. So I'll see you next time, guys.